Dogs against wolves and a meeting with a crocodile under the water. A race of a lightning-fast dog and an elk to the hospital. Dolphins spending time with whales and much more. These are rare and unusual moments with wild animals captured on camera. Have you ever been out on the street and there was such a strong wind that you could barely go forward? So, the same thing happens with birds. These birds that you see are not just standing on the ground. The headwind is so strong that the birds cannot fly, and those who rise into the air are immediately taken back. How long do you think they stood there? Baboons are impudent creatures, and there is no limit to their impudence and audacity. Look how this primate got into the car while it was in motion. Come on, he just got into it, but he decided to have fun on the trip. The baboon began to gnaw at the hood, then took the janitor and began to gnaw at him. As a result, he tore off the rubber coating of the janitor, chewed him and decided to break the janitor, but nothing came of it. If you happen to be in Alaska and go to one of the local hospitals, do not be surprised when you see something like this. This is quite possible. Moose are so common in Alaska that you can come across them anywhere. This moose decided to go to the hospital to have a little snack. He began to chew plants. Of course, a huge moose is dangerous. He scared the staff and patients and began to chase him. The moose began to push him from behind the chairs and gradually direct him towards the exit. At first, the moose did not understand what exactly they wanted from him and why they prevented him from eating. But soon he realized that he had made a mess here and finally left. Everyone knows that female kangaroos carry their little babies in their bags. There the baby gets used to it, gets stronger and grows up. The kangaroos, apparently, like it very much inside the mother's bag. And even when they are already growing up, they instinctively try to get in there. Look how it looks. This kangaroo wants to get into the bag just like in his early childhood. But he's already too big, and then it falls out. And yet, in the end, he managed to somehow fit into such a cramped space. I wonder how to get out of here. I think he's stuck in there now. Mothers take care of their babies and help them with everything they can. But sometimes they challenge the babies, leaving them in a difficult situation and not helping them. This is an educational moment, because by overcoming difficulties, the baby will become stronger. For some reason, that's what I thought when I saw these shots with the bear and the little bear. They were walking along a very steep snow cliff, and they had to go up. The mother bear climbed up without much difficulty, but the baby had a very difficult time. He climbed, but then rolled down. He climbed again and slipped again, just to start all over again. At some point, he almost got to his mother, but he slipped again, driving a few dozen meters. Finally, the little bear gathered all his strength, imagined himself a top climber, and masterfully overcame the obstacle, climbing to his mother. It's no secret that horses run very fast, especially when it comes to top climbers. But look, this dog is practically no less than a fast Arab purebred horse, which regularly wins in different races. The speed of the dog is amazing. These are some of the fastest dogs on the planet. They can run at a speed of almost 70 kilometers per hour and maintain an impressive pace for a long time. In any case, no matter how well horses or dogs run, they can't catch up with the leader of all land animals, cheetahs. Here he is, by the way, only this time he is not going to run anywhere. Right now he is hunting his cat relative, the serval. The serval is standing in a battle stance, bent his back and ready to reflect any attack of the cheetah. He, in turn, does not yet understand how best to approach the animal and attack it. In addition, when the cheetah approaches, the serval gnaws and scares him. As for me, it was a tactical move. The serval could not escape in any case. The cheetah would easily catch up with him, so all he had to do was stand on his own and try to somehow drive the cheetah away. And again we see the meeting of relatives. This time we are talking about a family of dogs. The dogs met a flock of wolves on some mountain. Apparently they sensed the blood of their relatives and decided to come and get acquainted. But the wolves are not among those who greet guests peacefully. Wild predators attacked the dogs and began to drive them out of their territory. Everyone had to retreat further and further. The acquaintance was clearly not successful. Snakes, like all reptiles, shed, changing their old skin for a new one. This process is not always possible to see even from a distance, so these shots are truly unique. The snake shed right in the hands of its owner. See how epic and unusual it looks. Snakes seem to tear off some kind of packaging, and it turns into our eyes. By the way, you don't have to worry about reptiles. The shedding process occurs in snakes painlessly. In this case, the owner only helped his exotic pet a little to get rid of the old and ugly skin. And here is another reptile, and much more dangerous than the domestic snake from the last video. Divers stumbled upon a crocodile that lay on the rocks right at the very surface. Only his eyes stick out from the outside. He looks out for prey and is ready to throw himself at it at any moment. The divers were lucky that the crocodile did not choose them as his dinner. Judging by his scale from the last video, he was in a bad mood. Underwater, you can stumble upon not only a dangerous crocodile, but also something fascinating and unusual. For example, a group of tuna. Although the word group in this case is, to put it mildly, an exaggeration. Look, this is a whole ball of tuna, which turned out to be a diver. Thousands, tens, and maybe even hundreds of thousands of fish stuck it from all sides, swam around it, and made it get lost in space. And the truth is, when there are so many fish around, your eyes run wide and you don't even understand where you are right now. In any case, it looks cool. The drone filmed a small group of humpback whales that swam somewhere in the ocean. Although, wait, there are not only whales, there are also dolphins in the water next to them. You won't see this every day. The capybaras interact with each other, swim and just have a good time together. Do you still remember that arrogant baboon from the beginning of the release, who got in the car and not only for free ride, but also caused damage to the car? Here we have another passenger who decided to take advantage of the means of transport. This pelican was too lazy to fly, so he decided to take a ride with the tourists. He chose the best place, in his opinion. The bird climbed on the shoulders of a man so that she had a good view. Soon other pelicans flew to the boat, but our hero decided not to join them yet and took a ride for free for a little while to let his wings rest. This video is a good example of how not to behave in a zoo. This guy climbed over the fence, approached the orangutan and stretched out his hands. He did not answer with a handshake, grabbed the guy by the t-shirt and began to pull to himself. A friend came to the help of the guy, but the orangutan decided not to let go of his victim. He firmly grabbed his leg and pressed it against the cage. At the very end, he still let him go. It should be learned. Now he will know that to primates and other animals in the zoo, it is not worth getting too close. The hungry lion is one of the most dangerous animals that can only be imagined. In these frames, we see several such hungry lions waiting for their dinner. Look how they fight. The first piece flies and the lion literally knocks down the lioness with his paws, tearing out her meat. Even in captivity, these giants have to fiercely fight for prey. But nothing terrible. There was more than one piece, so the lions did not fight with each other. Each of them got their prey, then they dispersed around their corners and began to eat. The diver was diving somewhere in the waters of the Galapagos Islands. when he suddenly stumbled upon a manta ray under the water. This is a majestic and huge rat that amazes with its size. Just check out how wide it is. This is the largest of all rats in the world, but at the same time it is one of the most impudent. As you can see, this manta ray was just swimming, turning over in the water and having a good time. This cunning fox crossed the fence and penetrated private territory in search of something delicious. But the fox did not find any food. But she found 2 German shepherds, whom the hostess let out of the house. They immediately rushed after the fox and epically drove her out of the plot. That one had to jump with all his might so as not to find himself in the jaws of these defenders. The camera trap filmed somewhere in the forest how the turkey was heading to the overgrowth with its chicks. Nothing foretold trouble, everything was calm, but in fact the birds had already been announced hunting. Nearby was a hawk. The camera did not capture it because there was no movement, but the turkey noticed him in time and flew after him when he rushed to her chicks. Surprisingly, but maternal pressure played its role and the hawk himself began to escape. No one will dare to bite the chicks of this turkey. Well, finally, I suggest you look at the unusual care in the world of animals. See how the female deer treats this cat. Apparently, she considers him her own child. She cares about him, licks him, and just envelopes him with her love. Such a friendship in the world of animals can definitely be called unique.